wanted to make a video on this a few days ago and I just missed out, I guess. Anyway, um, I wanted to talk about swirlers and some different things about that. You know how I feel. I feel like I generally don't mind um black men who are swirlers or black women who are swirlers. Either are fine with me, honestly. I have nothing against um either thing, really, honestly. Um, the thing is that I really wanted to address was I often see in many comments and many videos and many different content that when we talk about the spoilers and the divested side on the female side of it, that often it is like where basically for some reason, people always think that we are in odds or against black men in the same spaces and the same ideology as us. And I never understood why that is. Like, I think in part, people don't realize, like, the main issue I ever have is that people who are for interracial dating are really not for interracial dating. That's my main thing, my main issue. You don't stay true to that lifestyle. Oh, hi, pretty brown girl, Ari. How are you today? Yeah, I'm talking about just how I feel like, on the divested side, it seems like from male to female, um, that we don't really see eye to eye, but I never understood why, because we basically have the same lifestyle. But I feel like a lot of people who are fake swirlers kind of like go into the same spaces and kind of taint that. I often don't understand like one thing. Like a lot of people act like if you are a divester that you don't like you'll have issues with interracial dating for the other sex. And I don't understand that, honestly. I mean like knowing oh, you said I'm good. Also, they can't seem to get along because black men always think they are better than black women and they are jealous of them. Yeah, I don't know. I always think that black men swirlers, it seems like, aren't real swirlers in my opinion, because generally they're always focused on what black women and black swirlers do, basically. And that's why I kind of feel like they're not really real swirlers, you know what I mean? Because this is what I've talked about in the past. Like personally in my experience, I've had it where there'll be black men swirlers who are supposed to be swirlers, but they still have like some kind of relationship with black women. Like they might have a black baby mama, they might have had a girlfriend in the past, or they could have possibly even like not that, but they still like might hit on black women. That's why for me, as a black woman who's a swirler, I've always had a preference towards white men. And it's always been for me like a problem with having black men hit on me. Now, I understand some black men like, black women, so I understand that. But for the ones who don't like black women, I've always found a problem with them too. And that's why for me, I've always been more hesitant towards all of them. And also, I noticed one other thing like some black men swirlers are attracted to black women, but they don't like that they are. Like I've seen that where they would lash out at some black women because they were attracted to them. remember I had a roommate like that, and this guy kept going after her and being really mean, but at the same time you could tell he liked her, but he didn't want to like her. Like, that kind of stuff isn't real to me. It's like you've got some problem with your preference towards black people or whatever. You need to deal with that, but don't try and like include like that this is an interracial dating problem. I mean, like, if you weren't attracted to black women, if you weren't angry at black women, if you weren't jealous of black women, you wouldn't have this problem in the first place. You wouldn't care. Like, honestly, if I were male, I would be of the type, I wouldn't be. I probably would prefer what I prefer now. Probably really no different since I grew up around white people. I would not think that I would just attack people who I don't care about, you know? Oh, you said something else. Black men, spoilers, are very much obsessed with black women, and they always have something to say about black women. They put non-black women on a very high pedestal. That is true, yeah. They, from what I've seen, like in the black community, they often put generally white women, it seems like, on the highest pedestal, and then kind of like on lower levels, I guess you could say, other women generally. Sometimes I think Asian women are pretty much put on a higher pedestal as well. Oh, a black man that has been with mainly white girls has tried to get me to be with him, knowing I'm not into black men. Black men that try to get with black women most likely have been with white women, Hispanic women, Asian women. Oh, so I'm not. Yeah, honestly, I mean, I think there's a difference between men who are with like other races of women and women who are with other races of women. I mean, races of men, even though they're not unattracted to black people, and there's a difference between people who are just solely into that. Jr. What I don't get about divestors and swirlers. Oh yeah, honestly, for me, I have nothing against black men. Honestly, I've always been like just yada yada about them. But the problem is, Jr. is that often for me, my only complaint with black men in general is the whole harassment thing. Because for me, I've had a lot of harassment problems personally, where like I would have issues with having to call the police and things of that nature. It would get so bad. One time, um, they're bad situations that I don't really want to get into. But yeah, that's the only complaint I have on them. But other than that, I've never really had any other complaints. But I was just kind of like talking about the fact of why like black men swirlers and black women swirlers, and divestors, why can't we see eye to eye really? Because I mean, like, we do have some kind of commonality here. Obviously, we are both into interracial dating. And that's why for me it's like, well, I never understood the whole thing with people expecting a black woman like me who is into only white men to have any issue with a black man liking only white women. Honestly, if I was a black man, I probably would have the same preference. Just being completely honest. Oh, at Lorraine Soul. Hi. Oh, you're talking to JR. We are on it with it. Yeah. Okay. And oh yeah, Hispanic women are put on a pedestal, but from what I've seen, it always seems like they're put on a pedestal that's lower than white women, honestly. Um, and I noticed this by other dimensions too. Like if you put Hispanic in your dating app or something of that nature, you're going to get less value than you would if you put white. It's just what it is. Yeah, I know. Sometimes they do say that. I do agree with that. And JR, I'm a black British, but my thing is do what you want. Nobody cares. Oh, yeah, that's right. That's what I think. I agree with that definitely. Pretty brown girl, Ari. I only like white men and Hispanic men, but I prefer Hispanic men. I mean, white men, sorry. Hispanic men are very good looking too, though. Yeah, honestly, I don't know. I prefer white men. I'm, I think physically I prefer browner men, but the thing is, every time I think of it, like, I've never been with a Hispanic man really, or a mixed man really. So I don't really know really. But honestly, for me, from my experience, I've just preferred white men really. To me, looking outside and divestors and spoilers obsessed with black people. Yeah, not me. I'm just talking about some of the things that were expected with divestors. But anyway, going back to what I was talking about, many of these black men, I feel they focus too much on, black women, and it to me is weird because it's like if you are a swirler and you're a true swirler, you would think you would just be, you know, fine with other races being into black women and black women being into other races. You know what I mean? I don't understand. Like, from my point of view as a divester, I've never had any issue with black men being with other races. I think that, I actually encourage it, honestly, because the more visibility of interracial dating is obviously a positive thing from my point of view as an interracial dater. So I don't see anything wrong with that. To me, I just see it like kind of like we're kind of one and the same, but we're making a whole big deal out of nothing, really. If we really calm down and just realize, I mean, like, if you were a black woman, would you really be into black men? You probably wouldn't be. You'd probably be into what you are interested naturally. Same thing, vice versa. I never understood why people would think that, a black man who interracially dates should be against a black woman who interracially dates, or a black woman who interracially dates is against a black man who interracially dates. For me, I'm for anybody finding love however way they want. Of course, like, I'm going to be partial to what I do, I mean, and my lifestyle. So I kind of feel like I wouldn't have anything against, you know, other people interracially dating across the board. How can I shame someone for doing something that I do exactly the same thing as? Oh, more comments. I'm getting a lot of comments today. I haven't seen that many good-looking Hispanic guys in real life, just on social media. I've seen more good-looking white guys. I don't have issues with black men being with in other races, but they always bash us. Yeah, I don't know. Like, to me, I think it's almost like, I mean, like, if you weren't attracted to someone, you wouldn't really look to them or look at them to try and compare them to anyone else to need to bash them because you would have no interest. Like, I don't naturally just go bashing Asian men just because I'm not attracted to them. I mean, that would be odd. Why would I just go up and bash someone I'm not attracted to? To me, I feel like it's like something that is to some extent comparable to what you are attracted to, which implies that you're not solely into what you're saying you're into. So, yeah, that's just something that I kind of think is a little weird. I think it's opposite. I see all these vids from black women and YouTube. Listen, if you get on better with other races, go do you, no shame. Yeah, honestly, I can't say that I disagree. I see different videos on both sides, but most definitely I see it from black men who will talk as if just because someone's a black woman and because they're with other races that they would have an issue with interracial dating. I just don't understand that. Like I said, that's what I've gotten. Maybe that's just because I'm a black woman who dates interracially, and that's what I've generally seen and heard, and it's just weird to me. I also encourage white women and Hispanic women to get with black men. More white men and Hispanic men for us. Exactly. That's what I kind of think. I mean, like, it's like sometimes for me, it's not often, but I mean, with people who prefer what you prefer, there is a sense of kind of competition to some extent. If they don't like what you like, then that's not my problem anymore. It's like you like something totally different. It's just as if they liked women. Like, do you think I'd be upset if a woman liked a woman? No, I wouldn't, because it would be just like, well, that's just what you guys do. I mean, like, I have no part in this. Everyone has their preference. Deal with it. Exactly. That's how I see it. I just see like people need to accept that people have their specific preference and that, you know, no matter if you are someone who is a black man and you prefer white women, or if you're a black woman and you prefer white men, I just think that that preference shouldn't really bother anybody, because I mean, like, how would it bother anyone who has the same preference? So, also, one other thing, I guess this is kind of connected to what I was saying earlier. I get tired of the issue with white women where it's like assumed divestors kind of like have an issue with them. But it's kind of connected to the whole situation there. And it's like, I personally never understood that. I mean, like, to me, I've never had any. I think a major reason why I prefer white men is because of how I grew up. I grew up mostly around white people. That's male and female. So I never really understood why people always make that assumption when it's like, I mean, obviously, I don't have an issue with white people considering I'm someone who is open and only interracially dates. Like, some of the things people make assumptions on just don't even make much sense most of the day. And then also, one other thing, I have never felt any way to, like, white women's swirlers, things of that nature, like I said before. It just, to me, it makes more sense to actually kind of like accept that than to not, because I mean, like, why would I support people who might have some issue against black people and thinks they're lower than them or something of that nature and won't be with them? I would not appreciate that, obviously, on either end, white man or white woman. So I don't understand why I would have an issue with someone who is in an interracial relationship that's white. To me, I tend to think, well, they obviously don't have that much of an issue with black people. That's just my opinion. Oh, well, everyone has a preference. I think Black America is damaged on both sides. The white people done a job on you. Well, honestly, I mean, like with slavery and that whole situation, I must say, like, eh, it is what it is. But I don't really, I mean, like, I don't know, like, personally, for my family, we're kind of like black supremacists, so I don't know. But going back to what I was saying, oh, so many comments today. I don't like Asian guys because one guy who was Korean was very much obsessed with me, not in a good way. Also, there are lots of other personal reasons I don't like Asian men. Yeah, I don't know. Uh, I like men that look more similar to the basically similar to the men in my family and my things of that nature. Which might sound odd because I'm black, but my the males in my family are very ambiguous looking, basically. So for me, I like more of a Mediterranean look, and like an Asian person is kind of like the opposite of someone who has like a Mediterranean look. So I mean, that's a major reason why for me it's just not my type. But I don't, like I said, I don't like bash anyone like that. I think that they are very they're very exotic men for sure. And I actually dated a guy who was like I think like 10% Asian. So yeah. One thing I find funny, what black people have gone through in the US and black men and black put them on a pedestal. Black E? What is Black E? BE. What is BE? I don't know. I think Asian men are overrated. Um, yeah, I don't know. But yeah, I was actually. Oh, okay, you meant black women. Oh, okay, yeah. I don't know. Oh yeah, that's honestly because of slavery, honestly, like I said. But I think there's a lot of things that happen in slavery that I don't even feel like addressing because it's like, this is not the video for it. So, yeah. But I find it hard to find in like black YouTube a sector that is like, pro swirlers, just pro interracial dating. That's what I would really want, like something where like it promotes everyone and is not negative because when you are like black women divestors, usually we usually are the way we are because of the other side. But I mean, it brings in an element of negativity that I just don't really appreciate. Like, and with black men swirlers, their content too, it's like still the same problem where, they are very against black women and black women swirlers and things of that nature. I don't understand why it can't just be a, like a sector where it's just pro black swirlers. Doesn't matter if you're male or female. Why can't we just be pro interracial dating? I don't understand why it's separate. To me, it never made any sense why the two are separate. For me, I am definitely for black swirlers who don't hate themselves, of course, or the black race. I don't agree with any type of like uplifting of white men or white women or white people or Asian people or Hispanic people. To me, I am just for basically loving who you are and loving everything about yourself. That includes your attraction and preference for white people, Hispanic people, or Asian people, or whoever you may be attracted to. Like, that's what I'm for. And I support people who love being black and love being a swirler. Like, you can do both at the same time. You don't have to hate either. You really don't. People always act like it's antithetical to being black. It's not antithetical to being black. It, do I lose my skin tone when I am with a white or Hispanic man? No. I am still the black woman that I will always be. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if I, it doesn't matter how many mixed race children I have. It doesn't matter if I marry three white Hispanic guys. It doesn't matter. I'm still a black woman at the end of the day. And I don't understand why the two have to do with each other. Like, I mean, to me, it's just like one, you can love two different parts of yourself. It's like being a woman. Being a woman and being black neither erase each other. I can love being a woman and I can love being a black person. Just the same as I can love my interest in sexual attraction and sexual preference towards who I'm attracted to. Oh, there are more comments. Sorry. Do white people in the US respect black people or do they laugh at you? No, I don't know really. Honestly, the way I was raised was kind of like I said, I was raised to have kind of like a supremacist kind of view. Like my mother, she didn't really like how I was raised was like we are social with white people, but when it comes to the difference between us and them, I've always preferred how I looked. And I was always taught that. I was taught that, like the dolls that I had were darker skinned, black dolls, things of that nature. The people that I looked to and wanted to be similar to were like Brandy, Gabrielle Union, Naomi Campbell to some extent. But she's part Asian, so she does look a little mixed. Lupita, things like that. And so, I mean, I think, like I said, it's just different families. Some families were taught to basically appreciate darker, and some people were taught, like my mother was actually taught that white people were actually evil. And so, I mean, some people have like different family structures going on. Some people went to the other deep end and just basically like they don't like white people, they hate white people, they're racist. That's my grandparents. My mother is not like that. She's good. She's good basically. But that's why I'm like it's kind of like a hit or miss situation. Some black families, they all they do is try to be more like they have like a colorism problem in their family. Others have like a reverse colorism, and then other families just don't have it either. Oh, I didn't see that comment. Sorry. How can you love yourself but not be attracted to at all to the opposite sex of your race? Um, well, honestly, if we're being completely honest, you're saying someone of my race? Well, honestly, I am attracted to men that I'm attracted to. This is the thing. It's weird. I kind of have always thought I shouldn't be attracted. I should be attracted. Like, I shouldn't be attracted to people who are 100% black anyway, because I'm not 100% black. Black Americans aren't 100% black. And you said you're African British, so it's a different idea of what you are as opposed to black Americans. Personally, for me, I don't know, like, I grew up around white people. I didn't grow up around really black people. So for me, in America, the way we have it is just like what we grow up around is generally more white people. some black people grow up around more black people. So then when that happens, it's just like, that's what you're going to prefer because that's all you saw. Now, um, there's one part of it, like I said, I do like mixed men to some extent when I look at them. But at the same time, there's some features that I kind of feel like it probably wouldn't work. And considering I'm 53% black, I mean, I guess you could say in that sense that I do find mixed men attractive. But I've never been with a mixed guy. And also, like, there's things that I don't like. For example, I don't like fuller lips. Um, because it's not that I hate, like, I don't like them, because I like them. I like the look of them, but I don't like dealing with them, basically. I don't like making out with someone who has full lips. It's uncomfortable and it feels like I'm with a girl, basically. So, I mean, there's certain features that black men have and mixed men have that aren't really ideal, especially being a woman. I want something more hard and more strong, basically. So, I mean, yeah, that's basically how that works. It's not that I hate blackness, it's more so just like I'm a woman and I need certain things as a woman. That's it. Black men are definitely overrated. Also, people need to stop believing in big black cock is not real. Yeah, I don't know. To me, I don't understand the appeal, honestly, in um black men in that sense. And honestly, from like when I was younger, I actually had a time where I was actually looking at stuff with black men, and I was like, oh my God, it didn't look right. But yeah, um I don't like thinking about things like that, honestly. I never understood why people make them kind of like overrated. But um to each his own. I mean, like, some people like black men, some people like Asian men. It's it's what it is. I don't know. Yes, exactly. Full lips are very, very feminine. Especially, like I said, they can look nice on a man, but if you actually, you'll know they just have too much stuff there, like too much on their mouth. Like you don't feel like the person is very, very manly. So yeah, yeah. So going back to what I was saying, I don't see why it would only be okay for men or women. I don't agree with, like, also another thing is a major part of basically a lot of fake swirlers is basically revenge swirlers, in my opinion. And you see that on both sides, honestly. You see that on the black female divester side sometimes, and you see that on the black male swirler side. Both sides you can see swirling for revenge and things of that nature, or trying to associate it. And that to me has a lot to do with the bashing, honestly, on both sides. But I must say, like with black men, it's often like they use swirling revenge almost like as a way to bash people, bash black women. And it's weird because it's like if you were attracted to white women, you wouldn't just do it because you were angry at black women. Attraction isn't coming from anger. Attraction is coming from what you naturally are attracted to. So that's why I feel like that's basically fake swirling at that point, because you're not really doing it because you actually find white women more appealing, you're doing it because you have some anger or inner problem with yourself, you know? And I mean, now I'm not saying that they're not attracted to white women, because I mean, like, I tend to think that, if you have like some anger issue or a revenge that you're trying to commit against, the other sex, I think that those people have attraction to both races. And I honestly think most black people do have attraction to both races. Reason why I think that is because in our country we mostly have white people. So it's hard for us not to have an interest in white people, because it's only a matter of, did you grow up around black people? Because you obviously were around white people because they're the majority. So I mean, something's gonna kind of seep in while you're, growing up and stuff. At Aiden Andrews, you said, oh shoot, I'm out of battery. Give me a sec. You said that last comment applies to people of any race, so you're mixed but don't like black features, which include lips. Um, Full lips, like I said, I like how they look. I just don't like. I've tried it before because the first guy I dated was Puerto Rican, and so I assumed he was probably like 10% black or something. He was a lighter skinned Puerto Rican. Some people would try and claim he was all white, but I don't really think so. But he had fuller lips. He had that African feature of fuller lips and wavy blonde hair. And I tried to make out with him, and it was really bad. I kept trying to smash my face against his. It was terrible. Because his lips were just too soft. Like, I just did not like that. I don't know. Like I said, as a woman, I just am attracted to hard things, not soft things. Now, think of it, a browner skinned mixed person with thin lips. That's not a bad quality there. And honestly, if you think of, like I said, my male relatives, in fact, I don't think any of them have full lips. I think they all have thin lips. But yeah, I was just pointing that out. I don't know. Some African features to me are very feminine, honestly, because my female relatives had very African features, and my male relatives had less African features, period. So, I mean, that kind of created a certain dynamic. Kind of like, like the more African features are more feminine and the less African features are more masculine. So that's kind of like how I am. But I don't really have a color preference, honestly. Like, I can be attracted to men that are brown. I can be attracted to men that are very fair. I can be attracted to men that are tan. Like, all around, it just really can go all ways. And I wouldn't care, like, if someone was 100% black and fit the phenotype I like, that'd be cool. But the thing is, they never are. So, yeah. And I don't consider myself mixed, by the way. My father was mixed. I'm over 50% black, so I don't consider myself mixed. Next thing I wanted to address was, I don't agree with divesting and swirling for I don't agree with it for revenge, obviously, and I don't agree with it for like self-hate issues. Both can be kind of like similar to each other, but not always. Like, for example, if someone associates, they had a bad relationship with a black man or a black woman, and they are like they decide to like swirl and divest because had an issue with they had an issue with their last relationship. To me, I think that they should be able to, you know, deal with their personal problems, but it's not the same as someone who's doing it specifically because they hate themselves. So to me, that's generally my issue with like self-hate. It's just that like with self-hate, people always assume that everyone is swirling because of that. But the thing is, it's not all because of that, because some people are naturally attracted to people just naturally, and it has nothing to do with hating themselves. I mean, for one, opposites attract, honestly. So I never understood why it would be so much a shock that someone would be attracted to someone of another race. That's as opposite as you can get. And honestly, leading back to self-hate and revenge and things of that nature, I don't I don't appreciate any type of trashing your race or trashing black women or black men. To me, I don't agree with any of that. I don't. I understand like you can like I've talked against certain people, certain black men, certain black women or whatever, you know, people, certain white women, certain white men, certain Asian men, etc. Certain people are bad people, but you can't like saying that a whole race is bad, that's just ignorant. And then saying it about your own race says more about you and how negatively you feel about yourself, which isn't a good look for the person. So that's generally how I feel about that. Oh, there's another comment. So you don't like black features, then as most predominantly black men with have the features you dislike. Um, sometimes I guess, I don't know. Yeah, there's sometimes, like I said, you could say, I guess, someone who is East African probably would fit my ideals. Only problem would be, you know, I still have the whole issue with a certain feature, but I don't really know about that too much. Like I said, generally with mixed men, sometimes they can fit my ideal. But generally, like I've never been with anyone who was mixed, and I've never been with anyone who was Hispanic. So the only people that I've been with were white or like mixed or very white passing, basically. Things of that nature. When I say Hispanic, I'm saying phenotypically Hispanic, like Miss Diesel. But I just want to say, like, I do support black men and black women who prefer another race naturally. I honestly do. I don't hold anything against either side. And I feel like we need to move more towards that than having some whole thing where people who aren't really swirlers hijack the idea of interracial dating and make it into something that is really negative, and really insidious, something that basically makes interracial dating seem like it's something unnatural and something where only people who are angry with themselves or trying to get someone back or have some kind of issue or trashing their own race or something of that nature, would do. I just don't agree with that narrative. It makes interracial dating seem like the worst thing ever. It makes it look terrible. When, I mean, it's not that terrible. Much, it's pretty normal for someone to do. I mean, especially when you are a minority and that's most of your options. And I don't mean that in a way like some people try and perceive that as um you don't have any options within your race or something. I'm not saying that. I'm saying that, you know, there's 60% of white people and there's 13% of black people. Most black people have an option of white or Hispanic. Most of our options are not black people. So that's what I'm saying. Most of our options are white and Hispanic people. So it should be normalized and seen as, the typical thing someone would do in this particular situation. Which is a major reason for me why I interracially date. It's because those are the majority of my options. So that's the only way it makes sense, honestly. I just feel like a lot of people do not really see how simple interracial dating is in that sense. Not like many relationships aren't simple, but I mean like the actual difference between black and white or black and Hispanic or any other race, it's just not as complicated as people like to think of it. Like race isn't a big deal. At least to me, I don't think race defines anybody or defines their character. I think we all basically are the same underneath the skin tone. So I don't understand why people value so much so much of it and make it such a big deal. That's a that's about all I have to say on this. Oh, another comment. People who date who they want, I mean, people should date who they want, but I find it weird when people say they're not attracted to anyone of their race. Oh, yeah, I don't know. Like I said, personally, I have thought physically looking at someone's face that they can be attractive if they are what I listed off, which applies to some mixed race men and things of that nature. But that's about all I have to say on that, really. I mean, like, I don't really judge people on who they're attracted to. I mean, do you judge people for being attracted to the same sex or the opposite sex or a different race? I mean, like, these things are so trivial. Like, it's not really that big of a deal. So I don't understand why anyone would judge someone for who they're attracted to when they can't really help who they're attracted to. So I will close on that and thank you for watching. I will probably make another live really quickly, really soon, because I plan to do 10 lives today. This is because I like doing videos this way, by the way. Yeah. But it's nice interacting with you guys, so thanks for watching. Bye.